What's going on, everybody? Hervin here. This is day number 9 of the Daily Journal video series where I am documenting business lessons, life lessons, sharing anything that I find cool, or just being goofy. Welcome back, everybody. So I just finished recording here a couple of YouTube videos for dance studio owners. So we have a company that helps dance studios and just wanted to create some content. Again, this is just my firm belief that creating a personal brand is going to be the way of the future. It's going to be super, super important moving forward, especially as we get into this AI world where who knows what's going to happen. I hope that AI isn't going to get so good where we're going to have AI creating content that's good. I hope that doesn't happen. Even though I think my hopes are, I think that it is going to happen. AI generating content and so on. Who knows where it's going? But in any case, for now, it's actually one of the things that I find a lot of fun is just creating your content, sharing. I like sharing what I'm learning. I feel like it makes my journey. I can repurpose my journey to share it with other people and help them learn along the way. And I know this is only day number 9, but this is the intention behind this, is so that I can document these lessons that I'm learning as I go through business and share them with other people. So anyway, just finished creating content. I feel like the fact that I'm doing this and this is day 9, it's allowing me to be smoother in front of the camera. It's allowing me to create. So usually, like when I'm creating content for our dance studios, I do that every once in a while. Like, I'll batch record a few videos and then I won't do it for like a few weeks or a month, or I've even gone like a few months without recording any content for the dance studios because I batch them out ahead of time. In any case, then when I go to record, it's like, it takes me like 50 tries to just get the intro going to where I wanted to be. It's like, and I'm not even kidding, like 50 tries. And so now today I recorded a few content videos and it was like one took like 2 tries and the second one on my first try. And this is on my first try right now as well. And it's just practice, the ability that you put in practice. I thought as I started this challenge, of creating videos every day, one of the things that I wanted to get out of this is just improve my speaking ability and be able to flow better. And I got to see that today a little bit, and I'm like, oh man, that's awesome that's happening, that I'm getting better at it, or I feel like I'm getting better and I'm making progress. So it's cool. My updates for today. So today, I changed some of the copy, the language inside our job postings to see if we can attract more of the people that we're looking for. So we've been getting a lot of applicants, but a lot of people who aren't qualified at all. And then we also, on the other hand, we got a ton. We have like 3 or 4 group interviews that are just packed with people. And we're super excited because that's going to speed up our process of hiring. And just the fact that we have people to talk to, it's amazing. So our process is working. The group interviews that I talked about yesterday, super excited for those, so that, we don't have to spend an hour with each individual candidate. We could just knock them out all in one go. And so the strategy there, it's like finding that point of leverage. So, instead of spending 1 hour to do one interview, we're spending 1 hour to do 10 interviews at once. Boom. It makes it so that we're multiplying ourselves, multiplying our time. And that's one of the things that I've been obsessed about lately. It's just finding ways to leverage myself, so using AI, ChatGPT to leverage myself. Finding ways in our business to leverage what we're doing, finding ways to leverage our employees, finding ways to automate things, finding ways to, use technology to get more output per input. So if I put in 1 unit of time, I want to get more out of it. And so I'm trying to figure that out. And one of the things right now that I have been doing is like how do we multiply our decision making process? How do we duplicate our decision making process inside our employees, with our employees? How do we get them? So today I've been working on drafting a few, like, how it is that I make decisions, of like a framework for how I make decisions and how I choose to build or not build things inside our company, how I make decisions for how to help clients, how to make decisions for how to create things for clients or not create them, and so on. So doing these things, I feel like it's going to have the benefit of, if I can have a framework by which we make decisions, it's going to be easy to teach that to the employees, or easier to teach that to employees. You got to have an employee who's also has the capability of thinking in that way. But yeah, so I was talking to you about, I think 2 days ago, I talked about how we spend some time chatting with this business owner of this restaurant that we go to frequently. And one of the conversations it came up, like, hey, what's holding you back? What's holding you guys back from growing your company? And we were chatting about how the company doesn't grow. So the story was that, he has this restaurant, and the restaurant is amazing. It's so good. They have like the best quality food. The food doesn't, so I'm gluten intolerant. And so we go over there. We don't, my girlfriend Juana, she's also gluten intolerant. And most of the times we eat out, we feel bloated right after. This food doesn't make you feel bloated. They have like the best acai bowls. And I had never had acai bowl, but Juana's telling me this. I'm not usually one to eat. Like I'm usually a vanilla ice cream plain, just that's it. I don't like any other flavors. But this acai bowl, and they put some toppings and some fruits and some nuts and things like that into it. It's amazing. Anyway, all of this to say his restaurant is amazing. It runs on its own pretty much. I mean, the employees seem like they all know what they're doing. They have employees that, I mean, it just looks like the whole entire business is figured out. So I'm asking him, like, hey, what's stopping you from moving forward and like franchising this thing and opening up more locations? What is your vision? Is it like you don't want to grow that big? Are you just passionate about being inside the restaurant, and is this what you like? And he's like, no, I'm actually just passionate about business. Restaurants is like the first thing I try because I thought it'd be easy. In any case, he's not passionate about being inside the restaurant. He wants to open up more locations, but he's like, I just cannot let go of control. I just feel like, he's like, I'm okay if I lose some money, like if I'm gone and the payment processor crashes and I lose $10,000, like I'll be fine. I'm happy. But if not happy, but I'd be fine. Like I'd survive. I wouldn't think it's the end of the world. But if I'm absent and I come back and like the sack of potatoes are in the wrong place, the fruits are not in the right spots, and like the presentation of the place isn't as like detail as I would like it to be, that would drive me insane, and I wouldn't know, and I would just like obsess over that, and like I wouldn't be able to sleep if I know that things aren't in the right place and all this stuff. So it was all a matter. So the conclusion was that the reason why he's not expanding his business, it's because of himself. He cannot let go of control, and he's like extremely detail oriented, a control freak. And so like for him, and this is what he said, and for him it's all a matter of like he cannot let go of control, right? And so then he asked me the question. It's like, what about for you? Have you had any struggles or anything like that has preventing you from growing? And I thought about this, and it always feels like, at the beginning there's a struggle, then like there's a struggle or a big challenge. Like it's almost like in video games, there's a challenge that you gotta there's a level that you gotta play, and until you beat the level, you're just gonna die and restart in that level, and like you go through it and you die and then you restart in that level until you learn the lessons that you need in order to beat that level. Then you make it then you face like a final boss in that level, and then you level up, and then now you face different challenges. Then you go through the same thing again, but a little bit harder. And so, like, yes, for me, one of the reasons why I have loved business is because it's a it's a journey of personal growth, and I have learned so many lessons, and I have learned to overcome, or at least get better at. Not like, I used to totally be bad at this and now I'm never faced with that problem again. It isn't like that. It's more like I've learned to overcome it, and just where it's no longer as much of a challenge. So, like, I'll give you examples. So, like, for at the beginning, just selling our program and learning how to convince people to buy what we are selling to sign up for a program was a challenge, right? But even before that, it wasn't so much of a challenge. Like, when I first became a dance instructor, I was terrified of sales. I was terrified of asking people for money. I had a bad relationship around money. And so what my reality was like is that I was always lacking money. I was making like $1,200 to $1,500 as a dance instructor. I was stuck. And then I found out about, out of all people, Grant Cardone and his books. I read his books and so on. To cut the story short, I learned a little bit of the power of sales. I learned to see sales as like, it isn't this like cringy thing, or it isn't trying to shove something down somebody's throat, or it is, or it isn't like I'm selling a product that I know that I don't believe in or something. I learned to see myself as a salesperson, and I learned to embrace sales, and I learned to, feel okay telling people like, hey, it's okay. Like, do you want to sign up for my classes, and ask them to pay? Like, to me, it was such a big stepping stone, such a big hurdle for me. Just learning to ask people, being okay with selling, and like being okay with asking people. In the past, I used to think that if I would ask people to buy my classes, I was somehow like taking money away from them, and I was becoming richer, they were becoming poorer, and that was the end of that. I didn't know, like, I didn't see how, when people buy, yes, I'm gaining some money, but I'm also losing some time because I'm exchanging it to them. So I'm providing them with value that I know how to provide. In any case, I learned to change my mindset, and I learned to appreciate sales as a skill. I learned that sales is just a matter of, like, learning to ask questions, learning to present your product in a way, because I was selling dance lessons. It isn't like a physical product, but it's essentially what I was selling. And making that transition allowed me to, like, instead of making $1,000, the next month I made $2,000 after learning to be okay with selling. The next month, $3,000. Then I went to like Grant Cardone's boot camp for 3 days where I paid $5,000. That's in a story for another day. And I never made $5,000 in a month. And in 3 weeks I made $5,000, and it was all from overcoming this obstacle of like being okay with selling. Then so like, let me fast forward to now. Like, we have this business. One of the main obstacles at the beginning, one of the main obstacles, it was like Juan and I learning to work together, and we struggled with that for the longest time. One of the things that helped with that is joining a mastermind program by this person named Alex Sharfin, and he has given us the language, the tools, the strategy, the frameworks to think about how we both work together and add value in our own different ways. Also, the fact that our company was growing meant that Juana's hidden talents came to light, and it became more apparent what she was going to be focusing on, and what I was going to be focusing on, and we each found, like, not that now we know with 100% clarity what each of us are doing, but we have so much more clarity now than we ever did. And so that has been super helpful. And because of that, like, we've hit another level where we've grown because of that, because one is able to take on to some side of the business. I'm able to take ownership of another side of the business. Each of us are now being productive in our own ways to help the business. For me, hiring was a huge, like, again, it was always something that I was averse to for many reasons. One is like, how do I hire people? How do we pay them? How do we make sure they do the work? How do we make sure that they're following the guidelines? How do we make sure that we train them? How do we onboard them? Where do we find them? Like all of these questions around hiring that I didn't have clear in my head. So for the longest time, I thought like I just want a business where it's just Juan and I. We don't have many employees or any employees. And I just want to have a simple, small business, and I'm happy with that. And I don't want a big team. In fact, that's something that I used to say is like I don't want a huge team. I don't want to hire a lot of people. And the reason why I would say that, it wasn't because I honestly didn't want a good team. It's just because I was afraid, like, if I'm going to hire people, then I'm going to have to be a good leader. What if I'm not a good leader? What if I'm like a mediocre leader? What if I don't know how to guide this people? What if we now incur this, like we start hiring people, but we can't afford to pay them? Like all of these negative thoughts in my head and false beliefs. And so now we like started not, like this has been something we've been working on, and we've been hiring, and we've been getting better at it. Also thanks to the Alex Sharfin program, Juana has been running meetings inside our program. She's learning to be a good leader for our company. Excuse me. And I'm learning to be a good leader for the company, or a better leader for the company. And so those are things that struggles, like how do you hire? How do you find people? How do you onboard them, train them? Those are things that I had a huge aversion to, and have learned to just be okay, learn to overcome. Another big struggle, for me at least, is like hiring really good people and then paying really good salaries. So like, I talked about this in previous videos, but when COVID happened, we had this studio that was doing well, and COVID happened, and then a pipe underneath our studio clogged. Our studio got flooded with crap. We decided to take that opportunity to break out of the lease, and we had to give we gave like $35,000 in refund for the money that people had paid us in advance. We literally went to zero, where for the longest time we were like, so we were just surviving on savings. We didn't have any income. And then even for a period of time, Juana's parents, for like 6 months, we couldn't pay rent. Juana's parents allowed us to stay in this apartment where we're at now, to rebuild without charging us anything, for free, which is insane. That we got super lucky with Juana's parents doing that. And for the longest time, my philosophy when it came to hiring was like, I just want to hire like good people at a really cheap price, because in my head, I'm like, coming from scarcity mentality, coming from having lost it all, to now starting to have a little bit of success again in our business. And then, so I'm now feeling like I need to hold on to it all. And so like right now we are stuck. We've been plateaued at the level where we're in for like almost a year. And the reason for that is because we like reinvesting into employees hasn't been something that we like really spending a ton of, or not a ton, but really spending good money to find good people has been something that we were scared of doing because of incurring the expenses. But that's, it makes me, one of the things that I think about is how Mr. Beast if you ever watch Mr. Beast interviews, one of the things that he does is like all of the money that comes in from the YouTube channel, he like reinvests it. And so like anything that comes in, he reinvests it. And that, like, seeing that has allowed me to think of like, okay, maybe that's a little extreme, but right now we need to adopt some of that. We need to take a lot of the money that's coming in. We need to reinvest it and put it into good people, because we want to move faster. We have this big vision. and we're not moving faster towards the ambition because I am in my head feeling scarcity. And so that has been a huge struggle for me, scarcity mindset. The other one is um, feeling like, am I good in, like feeling like I'm, when it comes to hiring really good people, like am I good enough to be a good leader to good people, to really good employees? Are really good employees going to want to work for me? Am I a good enough leader that I'm going to know how to guide them? Am I, like, it just feels like, am I good enough to do this? And so, like, those are, again, more struggles that we have, that has made us plateau at the level where we're in. The other one right now that I'm finding is giving feedback to our employees. So I am somebody who's normally very averse to confrontation, somebody who's like doesn't like to give people feedback, doesn't like to like I and for myself, like, I try to do the best work possible so that, and be really hard on myself and self-critical so that people don't have to get me feedback, because I don't want to. Anyway, um, and the way I have felt is like, I don't want to give people feedback. I just want them to do the work on their own, and I don't want to give people feedback because of my own personal beliefs of like, I don't want to confront people. I don't want to. Anyway, all of this. So I feel like this is a challenge that I'm facing, like, literally today. And so yeah, just learning how to give feedback to people is gonna be my next challenge, something that I'm gonna have to work on. But I feel like if I can do that, and if I can do that with really good people, then that's gonna help us grow grow the people that we have. It's gonna allow us to get everybody pointing in the same direction when it comes to our team. And so, yeah, anyway, that's kind of like where we're at. And I just want to document this here because I feel like, the reason why your business isn't growing is because of you. You haven't learned the lesson. So, like, giving feedback is one of the things that is holding me back, like not giving and not knowing how to give feedback. And so, one of the frameworks that I have thought about to do this, I always like to think in terms of frameworks. So, like, when negotiating, for example, Never Split the Difference was a book that gave me so many frameworks for how to look at negotiations. Spin Selling is another book when it comes to sales that allowed me to understand how to do a sales call. Like, those are, that's how I think. I think in terms of frameworks. So in any case, a framework that I thought for giving people feedback is to write down the principles by which I make decisions, and so that I can have something objectively to point at. So when I'm giving somebody feedback, I could just say, hey, look, here's what I'm seeing. Here are the principles. And I'm not sure if, like, how you, when you first did this, if you were thinking about this principle. So let's, I want to bring this out so that you could see how I am making the decision so that we can both be aligned in what we're doing. And then, so kind of something like that, like having an objective standard by which I give feedback so that it's not people thinking like, oh, Hervin is so particular and he just wants things done his way or something like that. But rather, here are the principles by which I make decisions so that we can all agree on, like, here's what the ideal looks like. And then when I give you feedback, it comes from a place of like, hey, we agreed that these were the ideals and here's what you're doing. Here's how it can improve or whatever. Or what do you think about this? Or why, if these are the ideals, what made you do that? Because maybe I can learn something from how the other person thought about it. So in any case, that's what's happening now. Just documenting how I make decisions, being able to give feedback to our employees. I feel like this is going to be a really good skill for me to learn and to overcome and to move forward to the next level where we're able to hire really good employees, be able to give people feedback, be able to help them. Because I also think it's helpful for them if they knew how they can improve. And so we grow as a company and I grow as a person. Anyway, yeah, that's what's going on today. I actually got this video done at 7:08 p.m. So I have some time. And I think it's a Sunday. August 6th, I think I'm gonna have. I'm gonna tell Juana if she wants to watch a movie. Now that I got done with work here a little earlier. Um, anyway, thank you all so much for listening. If you enjoy this daily journal video series where I'm documenting here, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to be transparent, share with you as just to be transparent about my transparency. I am not sharing everything that I don't, there's still some level of like, I want to be careful with everything that I share. And not share everything that is like like the big ideas that we're working inside our business or something like that, or our roadmap. But I'm still wanting to document a lot of the journey here, and whatever I feel comfortable with sharing, I'll add it here. So with that said, if you enjoy it, I'll see y'all in the next video tomorrow. Bye.